Yeah, so now it's getting recorded, right?
Yeah, okay.
Uncle,
Let's
I
go
made you
ahead.
the host.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah, we
yeah,
can.
he goes there, right? So, yeah, no problem. Go ahead.
So our first problem is like number of boomerangs. We are given endpoints in a plane which are pairwise distinct, and it is a boomerang is a tuple of points I, j, and k such that pairwise distance is equal. I mean, distance between I and j and I and k. Sorry, the order of tuple also matters. Okay, I and j and I and k. So find the number of boomerangs. You may assume that n will be at most 500 and coordinate points will lie in this range. Both are inclusive. So here, like we can see this, what is it? I mean, one said this and the other said this. These two sets are possible here. So two boomerangs in this case, yeah, yeah, that's it. So what will be the brute force here?
Okay, so here they actually have given one only single example, right?
Yeah,
And there is nothing much in that. So the way I look at it, looking just at the example, what I thought, like whenever there is a distance, equal distance between 2 points,
okay,
so you can make one point as a center, okay, and have two distances or what do you say, like two segments from that point to the other 2 points, right? So
yeah,
then because the center point actually, which is the main thing connecting the two other points, will be your center, right? And the other will be the extreme cases like the left or right, whatever the case may be.
yeah,
So that might be a boomerang. So whether it is a straight line or if it is a any different directions, it doesn't matter, correct?
yeah, boomerang, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. So in that case, if we want to go for something like a brute force, but even before going into brute force, so what will be our inputs look like? Are they going to be a series of coordinates, XY coordinates in the two-dimensional plane, or is it only three always?
No,
Or is it a
it,
pair of threes, a pair of or maybe n number of threes? Is it like that, or it will be a series of coordinates?
So
I
it
think
would
it
be
should
n
be.
pairs, I think.
Yeah, she's good.
Yeah, so I think it would be n pairs because it's given that you are given n points. So it won't be three every time.
Okay, okay. Yes,
Yeah.
Shashank, you were saying something.
Yeah, yeah, I'm same thing. What Arshit like what mentioned.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think there's one problem with the question. When it says that a boomerang is a tuple, as far as I know, tuple is like a pair, right? Or
Yeah, in
it can
Python,
be.
it's like pair only.
Yeah, I think
Mm,
it should have been a triplet of points, the way in the description.
Yeah, that would be more precise. Yeah, but maybe technically we shouldn't go for that. Like, I mean, what they meant to say at surface level, like couple of points, tuple means. I
okay.
mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, triplet would have been a bit more precise.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, whatever their input, they think about that problem statement is more important than what we actually, interpret, right? So I was
Yeah,
trying to understand exactly what they're saying. But as Archit says, a series of coordinates, that's okay. Right. But out of that, we just have to find out how many of them actually fit into that boomerang uh, definition, correct?
exactly.
Hmm. So for a brute force, what I would think is, you sort all these coordinates maybe by the first index of each and every point. Okay. So at least you have something to do with that, right? And if they are equal, then you sort again with the y. And then
Okay.
you actually keep on going through the whole array, right?
Okay.
Maybe, yeah, but even if it won't be in O of n times, right? You'll have to go use two for loops, one from the top, starting with each and every index and another inside, which will start from the next index and keep comparing. But yeah, it doesn't make sense to have a sorting in that case, right? Yeah.
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 So how is sorting gonna help here?
No, I was thinking if it is sorted, so you just look for the next one and move on. You compare the two if they are actually of some distance and the next two are of the same distance. Okay. Then you say it is a boomerang of 2 and then move to the next coordinate and then keep on doing it. But yeah, we might miss some of the cases.
Yeah, because we have to find two equidistant points for a given point.
Hmm.
So I don't think sorting
Right. Yeah,
will
sorting
be.
won't help.
Yeah.
The
So
cubic solution is enough because there are only 500 points maximum.
yeah, cubic would work, I think.
Sorry, what was going to say?
So there would be at most 500 points. So is cubic solution enough to pass this?
I'm not sure about that.
I think it should be.
Okay.
No, I think naive is like just to run the have a quick cubic implementation.
Right.
Okay. Would you like to explain it?
So we are looking for 3 different points, and there can be so just try out all the combinations, like all the combinations, pick all distinct 3 points from the collection and check whether it's a boomerang.
Okay, but how do you take the 3 points?
Yeah, the three nested loops,
Oh, okay.
500C3, those many combinations, right?
NC3.
Bit too much. Okay.
So, but then if you are taking that way, you will still encounter duplicates, right?
We are
No,
distinct pairwise. Okay, okay. Got it.
we can handle this.
Okay.
Cause for according to question, suppose there is a tuple value tuple I j k, and then I k j or some that's a different tuple for them.
Mhm.
So we will all so there won't be duplicates.
Okay.
It's just same like in this question, in the example. So there are only
Mhm.
3 points, and but we have 2 boomerangs.
Okay. Yep. Makes sense. So, what is the other way to do it? An optimal way?
So for a particular point, you can keep track of the distances.
Hmm.
For example, if I start from this 1 comma 0 point and the next point is 0 comma 0, so the distance would be 1, right? So I keep this distance somewhere, and I traverse the rest of my array, and if I find this distance again, then it says that I have a triplet for that particular starting point, which was 1 comma 0. So
Okay.
Hash map, something like it.
right, we can maintain the key as a hash map for every coordinate, and then traverse the rest of the array uh, for that coordinate, and check if we have a distance which was already computed. Then we can increment the count that way.
Okay. So you are saying you'll maintain a hash map and then you'll find the distance for any 2 points, right?
Yeah, I'll maintain a hash map corresponding to every coordinate.
Okay. So you'll start with the first outer loop with one coordinate, and then you'll have another inner loop. In that inner loop, you will actually maintain the distance with the first top loops, whatever index with that index, and the inner loop, you'll run through it,
Right,
and you'll find all its distances and keep it in an hash map, right?
right.
Okay. But
Now,
then if you go to the next index on the top loop, right, you will again have some of the similar results, right?
Right, but it says that that would be considered different.
Okay. The same what Pankaj was saying. Okay.
Yeah, so we want the permutations, the total permutations.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I don't have to take care of that duplicate thing.
Okay.
Because when I go to the other element in my top loop, then my first element changes, like my I changes. So that would be a different sequence.
Hmm. So when you are in a loop, every time you will try to find out the results and then move to the next one. Is that what you're trying to say?
Right.
In the second
I
loop? Okay. Mm.
Yeah. My first loop would be representative of this I element as given in the description, and then I will look for the equidistant element, equidistant coordinates from that I coordinate.
Okay, to see an example, if like, okay, so if we have something like this, if you have some points like this, if I'll just write some random points, so 1, then 2, right, 3, and maybe just 4, right? So you are saying that for the first loop, even if you start from here, from the inner loop, you'll start still from here and then keep on doing for each and every one, right? So the distance of this guy, this one with each and every point, correct? Okay.
Right.
And then you will again move this pointer and then you'll start again from this point. Again, do it for that. Hmm. Okay. And so when you have actually finished one loop, okay, so then I did not get that. Like whatever the distance you get, uh, you are just going to add that number, like.
Right. So for a particular distance, let's say I have for this one, which you have the leftmost element, I have
Uh,
three equal distant points. Then basically now it comes down to permutation. So I have to arrange these uh, three three coordinates in two spaces. So it would be 3 into 2, 3p2.
oh,
That would be 3 into 2.
okay. Oh, yeah. But provided the distances are same, we are assuming here the distances are same,
Right. That
right?
would be obtained by the size of my value. Like my key is the distance, and if the size of my vector, I've kept the value as vector. If it's greater than one, then that means that I have two elements or like more than one element with that distance from I.
Mhm.
So I'll just use that formula using the size.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so Harshit wants to share code.
Yeah, I can share.
Yeah, sure.
Is this key visible? Hello.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So as I said, for every point, I am using this map, and I'm calculating the distance of this I with the rest of the points. So this loop is for that. So I am storing the square of the distance, so I don't have to deal with the float values. So this would be the x part, and this would be the y part, and I'm adding this and storing this here. So for one particular coordinate, for example, uh, for one particular coordinate, I'll have all the possible distances in this hash map, list of I. And
Okay.
as soon as I find already computed distance, I just increase the count by this. So my hash map is a int comma int, where int would be the distance, this key would be the distance, and value would be the count of all those coordinates which have the same distance from I.
Okay.
Now, once I do it for one particular coordinate, I try to find the answer. So I've maintained this hash map. Now I'm traversing this hash map. If the second, value is greater than one, sorry, somebody saying something.
No one is saying that. Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
So if this is greater than one, then this shows that for this particular distance, I have more than 1 point. So as I said, I am using this formula where val is this, basically the size for that particular distance, and I'm adding this to my final result value. And then I'm moving on to the next distance.
Okay. But Harshit, one thing is not very clear. Sorry, Devan, you have something? Go ahead.
Yeah, Shashank, I just joined little late. I just wanted to ask you, in spite of just calculating this a Cartesian distance of squaring the distance, can we just make like take an absolute value of their differences? I think this doesn't gonna make any changes to our solution.
No. I think absolute values, that would be something different. We want the distance, right?
Actually, the thing is, in solution we just have to give the pairs. Okay, so it doesn't matter to which distance we calculate this with, is because if something is gonna be s distance from 2 points, if I change the from different format, it is gonna be something like a multiple of x. But the ratio is always gonna be something like a constant to calculate for multiple distances. I just wanted to confirm this thing because I had this in my mind. So
But if you
yeah,
have
it's
a no, if you have a negative and positive distance when you're doing an absolute, or you are saying absolute of that.
I just gonna take the absolute value of the x coordinate, difference of the x coordinate plus absolute value of the y coordinate. That's it.
No,
But,
but there could be
ABS.
shortest distance, right? Which would be
Yeah,
this. Let's say right angle triangle is formed, then there could be a shortest distance hypotenuse, which would be the square of your base plus height. So
What
in every
what? Yeah.
let's say right
Yeah,
angle
yeah.
triangle is formed, then in that case, how will you do?
Uh,
So Shashank, you are saying if it is a right angle triangle,
Triangle,
then
yeah.
Yeah.
in that case it might not work, right?
Yeah, that case could come up, right?
Right.
Let me take like the 3 points are the vertices of that right angle triangle. Okay, so you are saying me the perpendicular and the base are equal. So what do you want to say? Then
No.
this case there would be just a simple single combination. There would not be a two combination of it because there's like a middle point is equidistant from the both points. Okay, so if I am wrong, I think someone.
Yeah, that's fine. Say only thing is, we were trying to be as close as possible to the distance formula, right? So at least we are
Okay.
trying. Therefore, it's like therefore he has taken square values instead of taking a square root of that value, right?
Okay.
So at least square actually helps better in computation.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I just wanted to confirm this. Okay.
No, that's fine. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. I
Okay.
think what he is talking about, that is some
V1,
other
yeah.
distance. I think that is Manhattan distance.
Yeah, Manhattan distance. Of course, we can take any distance, like the Cartesian, like an Cartesian distance or the Manhattan. Or
Yeah, in this case, we want a shortest distance. Manhattan distance will be like you have to go through each and every segment, right?
yeah, Manhattan is a little more different, but yeah.
Yeah, no problem. Good.
Yeah. Santosh, you were saying something.
Yeah, okay. One more thing, what I still not getting here. See, you are saying you are going through I, the first loop from 0 to n, and j you are going from 0 to n. So now what happens when you are at the same coordinate in I and j in the second loop? So you will have a distance of 0, correct?
Right.
If I and j are same. So in that case, you are actually having a location in your map for a 0 index and you are incrementing it.
Right. So for that point, the value would just be 1, right?
Oh, but if you go for each and every such thing, okay. Oh yeah,
I'm
you
using
won't be
a
able to
separate
get
map.
that.
I'm
Okay.
using a separate map for every I.
Right, right. So you are doing this inside that first for loop. Okay, no problem. Yeah,
And
yeah. Okay,
yeah,
that's fine. Yeah.
because it would be just one, so it won't go in this if part.
Oh, that's what you are taking 1 year. Okay, got that.
Yeah. Overall, it should be n square only, right?
Yeah, and square.
It has to be n square or
I mean, worst case.
yeah,
In
but
every case, it's n square only.
yeah, we have to go through each and every point, right? We have to actually calculate the distance from each and every point to each and every other point, right? So
Yes.
therefore, it has to be n square, I think. Yeah. Instead of Pankaj was saying like the name solution would be n cube. So this is much better than that. Correct?
Yeah, dictionary is playing a role.
Yeah. Okay, makes sense. And only thing is in the rest, the line 22, you are actually multiplying that val with val minus 1. So that is like if you have, in this case, it is 3, you will have a value of 2. So 2 into 1 will be 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, we are like filling these three blanks by like we have fixed this blank, and we want to fill these two. So
Right.
we by the val thing we get the total equidistant points, and then we have to fill these two blanks. So if we have x options for the second blank, then for the third blank I'll have x minus 1 options.
Mhm. Okay, but then how do you come with this example like val into val minus 1? If it like, if we had something like 4 as your IT second,
Okay.
your val would have been 4, then you will say 4 into 3, but why 4 into 3 always?
Okay. So
There's some formula, something like that, right?
yeah,
I think
so
so.
that is what it is. So it would be this 3p2. So if
Okay.
for a particular point, like I have four options, I have four equidistant points,
Mm-hmm.
and so basically I have to fill these three blanks, right? So
Mm-hmm.
for the second blank, I have fixed my leftmost blank, this one, by the I, I mean this coordinate, which I've selected with this loop.
Okay.
Now I have these two blanks to fill, and what I have got is that for that particular distance, I have four equidistant points. So this point has four options, and this point has three options. So it would be 4 into 3.
Hmm.
So like if 4 points are there and 3 points have equal distances compared to that, like B is the point and 3 more points are there and all these 3 points are having equal distances from B, right?
Right.
In that case, this val into,
Yeah. So 3 into 2.
yeah, 6.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So basically, it's that formula only. NP2.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
N is the size of that value.
Value.
So NP2 stands for, it will be n factorial divided by n minus 2 factorial.
NP2 would be n factorial by 2 factorial into n minus 2 factorial.
N minus 2 factorial. Okay. Okay. Good.
No, I mean, Santosh was right before.
4
It was
factorial.
n
No, no,
factorial
yeah, right.
by n minus 2 factorial.
Yeah,
That's why it results into n minus 1.
Yeah. So I said 2 factorial in the denominator. That is not it.
Yeah.
Okay.
The bit,
Okay.
I mean, many. Yeah.
I'm trying to recall it again, so maybe
Yeah. It's
I
n
remember it, you know. Yeah. Okay.
for n minus 2 factorial.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, mine was also, I'll share it.
Please. Yeah.
So mine was, it's same as Harshit only, like just a language difference. So, I mean, this is the base condition I'm checking, like not base, one of the case, like if your point itself is less than 3, then in that case will return 0. And going through each of the points, there's a dictionary that I'm taking and calculating the distance between those 2 points. So this is the Euclidean distance that I'm calculating. So once I get the distance, if I find the distance, I'm already repeating in my dictionary. Just I'll increase its value by 1. And for remaining, what we'll do, it's for every value in the dictionaries, if my value is greater than 1, I'll take it and just compute this, what do you say, value into well minus 1 and store it to my final result.
Okay.
Yeah. And at last just return the rest. So crucial is like getting the distance. If find that distance, we have repeated the same, we have got the same distance again, then we'll get the value and increase it by 1. And here we are walking through all the values of the dictionary. And if the value is greater than 1, we'll take that value, and for that value, we'll val into val minus 1. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's almost the same. What?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Next is like we have to find the lowest common ancestor of binary tree. So here for 5 and 1, the lowest common ancestor is 3. And for this, we have to draw the tree and then check. Then all the nodes value will be unique, and P and Q are different, and both the values will exist in your tree. But this is for the same tree or whatever tree only. I think 5 and 4, if you take 5 and 4, so lowest common ancestor should be 5. Okay, yeah, it's for the same tree.
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So 5 and 4 will be 5, and 5 and 1 will be 3.
Right.
Yeah. So what would be like here? The
Brute
way.
force. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So it's given
am.
that both these nodes exist, right?
Yeah, both the node will exist. They have given somewhere all the down. All
Yeah,
the nodes
that's
will
a
be.
very good question, because if it doesn't exist, then first you'll have to go and find them.
Yeah.
And if they are null, in that case, then you just return the null, something like that. Yeah.
Or if one of them exists, the other doesn't,
Yeah. Much
then
null.
also it will be null. No, it will be null only, right? Yes.
Then yeah, we might have to ask what actually they
We
are
need to.
expecting as an output, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yes.
should be null only.
Yeah, looks like, yeah, but you never know.
Right.
And if both the nodes are same, only 5, 5, then 5 only, right?
It won't be.
If they are same, then it should be the same node they should return, right?
Yeah. Oh, looks like that only, but
Yeah, because
It's
see in the
given that.
example 5 and 4, he is returning 5, correct?
yeah.
Yeah, but that won't make sense, right? To find an LCF of particular two nodes.
Yeah, it's given that both of them are different.
Okay. Okay. So in this case, how do we go? Like, because they haven't given us the tree nodes, they haven't given us the address of the node. They have just given us the value. So we might even have to ask whether if there are any duplicates, right? If there
I
are
think
duplicates,
it's given the address only, not the value.
mm, if
In
you look
the
at the
signature, in the question, in the function that will give us.
okay, in the function, okay, really? I don't think so, because oh yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, they are the values. Oh sorry, they are not the values. I'm sorry, they are the actual
Addresses.
addresses, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So see, if we are given two addresses of two nodes which are the valid ones, correct? Okay. So in that case, we don't need the root node also, correct?
But how do we start then?
How will you draw the reference? Like root node also, let's just for 5 and 1, how will you get then value?
I think so. It should be possible. That is
You're
just my
saying
guess.
that
Oh.
if we are not given the root of the tree,
Why do you need a root of tree if they have given the addresses of the two nodes?
So if, for example,
So what about if those two nodes are 1 and 5 and you have to return 3?
Yeah, that is the crucial. I mean,
you cannot
root
go
has to
back.
be.
So because the tree structure that does not keep the reference to the parent.
Right.
Makes sense.
If they are in the same subtree, then it would work.
Yeah, or else if the node itself had an information like a parent, then in that case it would work.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we still need a root. Yeah, you're right. Sorry about that. Yeah. Okay. So in this case, what we do is, I'm not sure whether it is brute force or not, but you just start from any node. Okay. Yeah, you'll have to come from the root though. First, I would like to find a path or the parents from this node, whatever the P node is, capture all the path of the P node, capture all the paths of the Q node, and then I'll put that in some array. Okay, and then I try to compare those two arrays, whichever is the longer one, or instead of that, I just start from the backside of those two arrays, or maybe, yeah, backside of those two arrays and see if those two values are the same, and then keep on traversing the array till I don't find them different. And whenever I find it different, I actually return that particular address. So that might be my LCA something. And a very high level, it's not a very as simple as what I'm saying, but I'm just trying to think loud.
Yeah, I think that should work.
Every node's previous level you'd be checking.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, should
So,
work.
but then how do I get that path? Okay, I'm just still thinking on it. Yeah, if I start from a root, I can actually get, right? I start from a root and then keep on looking for that particular one. So I do an in-order traversal, and before even I traverse to any of the left and right, I push that value in some vector, which will be a global vector, and keep on pushing it till I don't find that node. Okay. Yeah, that might be
We
one
can
more way.
maintain a function which would be a Boolean function, and alongside that we can take a vector and use it as a reference. And as soon as we find that P or Q, we can return true and keep going back.
Okay.
And if we don't find that vector from either the left or the right, we can simply pop that root. Like for example, if the P is 0 and I'm going to the left side, I go to 5, I go to 6, then I come back to 5, I go to 2, then 7 and 4. So basically I don't find this P value from both the branches of 5. So I have to pop 5.
And so what will be the exit condition in that? So whenever I find a value, I return true.
Yeah.
And that will be, okay. But
Values.
that is still not a very normal in-order traversal, right? Because you'll have to keep a tab on that value when you find it, then you'll have to return true. Right. It's not a very simple in order.
Exactly.
Minor modification, but that also actually is not so easy to come up with.
If it is BST, that would have been far more easy. Like you'll choose the always path, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay, so that is the only way we can get to this, or is there any other better way of doing it?
I think looks good only that, like in order traversal only what I did here also.
Okay.
What Santosh explained would be O of 3n, like we are doing 3 passes.
Yes.
Yeah, he's taking
Causing
extra array also, global
So-
arrays.
1, 2, and then actually the third. Yeah, third one won't be a parts though. What I was trying to say, whenever I have an array, but still it is a sort of traversing.
right.
Okay. But is that enough, or are we missing something?
No, I think that's a good one. That would work. We just have to keep a good track of the vector we are using.
Okay. Because that was a similar question. I think we had to calculate something. So because we go to that node and then find its okay. I think it was levels we were for that LCA. Okay, maybe that was a different problem. Yeah.
But
Setting the
so-
next one. Okay.
yeah, go on, go on.
No, I was saying that to which question this was similar. Like Santosh was saying, was it like
Yeah.
setting the pointer of 5 to 1? Was that or something else?
No, I think it was something to do with the levels. I don't recall it now, but yeah,
Okay.
I'm sorry, I got
Yeah.
confused with that. Yeah. Yeah, let's go ahead with your option
Yeah, so
implementation.
mine is like I'm doing this. What you say? For left child, right child, and then I'm playing with the root, right? So this is your post order, right?
Yes.
Post order traversal, yeah. So this is the first condition is like if you don't have a root, root is 0, or the moment you find that p is equal to root, like here itself you find that p and q both are 3 3, then you'll return 3 from here itself. Else you'll you'll go to both left and right, and whichever point you find, like first example is for 5, so it will go to the left and will check that no 5 is there, so it will return root from 5, it will return it to 3. It will return the boolean value for it. If it is because root and p both are equal, so it will return true to the 3, and again it will go to the right. From here 1 and 1 are equal, so it will return true to the 3, and here it will
No,
check if
I
both.
think it's returning the root, not the Boolean value.
No, but it is. Oh,
This
sorry.
is the
Yeah, right.
condition.
Yeah,
Yeah, you are
returning root.
returning the root. Yeah.
Okay, so if it is if it is returning the root.
Yeah,
So
basically.
with,
I
So
think
you are
that
going.
there's problem with line 16. There's an OR operator that means it will return Boolean at the end.
No. If if any of them is a valid value, it would return that value.
Yeah, that's the intention. But in Python, but what's the OR operator in Python?
Or operator, either of them is true, then it will return true.
Oh, okay.
so it will return either of them.
Yeah.
But
But if it
what if
return
other one was okay? Okay.
line number
So it's-
14 will return 5 and 1, and if 5 and 1.
So it means like if left LCA was not a null, then it will return that. If it was null, it would return right LCA. Is that what it
Right.
means? Okay.
So if both of them are null, then it would return null.
Mhm.
But how this 14 condition is executing then?
So basically, this line is so if I get something from my left and I get something from my right, and like both of them, then that means that my root is the ancestor, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
For example, in this example, if p was 5 and q was 1, then both the left and right calls would have returned me something like 5,
and 1.
the address of 5 and the address of 1 from the right side. So basically, I have something from both these sides. So I say that my answer is the root 3.
Yeah. Also, this condition will have some number if both of them are returning
Right.
something.
An
So it
address.
will come true. Yeah. And then it will return the root. Yeah. So if any of them is null, the AND operator will make it 0. Like, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. It won't go
Yeah.
inside.
Inside. Yeah.
But this won't be possible in other languages, correct? It's very Python specific. Or can we implement it?
No, I think we can do it.
Okay. I never tried this way though. Yeah.
Yeah, this would be a good solution. O of n.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, every node we are visiting. Or explicitly, if I have to write, then I'll write if this equal to 0, then it should not enter.
Something
Or
like that.
if not equal to 0, will return. It's better to.
So in Python, we don't have to write the type of the return variable, right? In the function
Yeah.
signature.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really good way of doing it, I would say. It's
Yeah.
very easy to remember also, and the time complexity, whatever the
Order
way
of-
you do, it's going to remain the same.
Shashank? No, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
but in line number 9, so okay, I'm confused. So you have defined return type. So return type would always be tree node.
Yeah,
Tree node, yeah.
I think there's an option. You can skip that. I might be
we
wrong
can
with that.
skip. But it's consistent. Every time he's returning the address. So
Right.
yeah, it's consistent. So yeah.
So this
Somebody-
is easy, yeah. Never thought of this. Maybe I'll try to implement in C, C++. Okay. So yeah, we have any other approach to discuss?
I have the same approach. I did the same.
Oh, you also did the same thing? Okay. In which language?
C++.
Okay, let's have a look at it then. Just curious to see it. Because I did the lengthy way what I was discussing. And I thought it's more clumsy to do that, but yeah.
Yeah. My screen is visible?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's exactly the same. I'm calling this function helper function.
Mm-hmm.
And if the root is null, then I'm returning null. And if it's any of these two, I'm returning the root. Then I'm doing
Okay.
these two calls. If left and right, they both exist, then return the root. Otherwise this. If left
Okay.
is not equal to null, then left, otherwise right. Because it says that those nodes would always be there. So I don't have to check the other condition.
Yeah. Yep.
Binary op-
So that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Share this in the Discord.
Sure, sure.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is same the C++ version of Python.
Yeah.
What Shashank was showing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a post order, pre-order, post order, both, right? Yeah. Okay. You have to take care in the pre-order also some case, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So we should go to next, right? Or any other?
Yeah, I think so. That's fine.
So this is a valid square. So 4 points in the 2D space is given. We are supposed to return whether 4 points will form a square or not. Yeah, so this is an integer and they are forming a square. P1, P2, P3, P4. And some of the node points are like a valid square will have all 4 sides equal with positive lengths and angles at 90 and inputs have no order. Okay. Yeah. So what would be the brute force here?
Okay, in this problem statement, we are always going to have P1, P2, P3, P4, only 4 coordinates as an input, right? And we just have to find whether it is a
They
square
won't
or
be in
not.
an order. It can be like P1, P4 also.
Yeah, whatever the way, but there will be only 4 coordinates. We won't have a
Yeah.
series of something like that, right? Yeah.
No, yeah, we'll have 4
Okay.
points. Coordinate, yeah, they are mentioned given coordinates of 4 points. Yes.
Mhm. So in this case, it is slightly easier, right? It's not very complex because we just have to find the square. So the property of square is the length of each line or each distance. Uh, so if they are equal, then it is a square. Okay, and then we have to find if they are right angle. If any one of them is right angle, then the whole thing is square.
No, but there could be other quadrilaterals also, right?
I think
Yeah.
so. You will find the angles like using that tan formula.
We can actually have a slope. You can calculate slopes of two segments, yeah? And
Okay.
if they are perpendicular, we can just say it is a square.
Yeah. Yeah,
Slope is also
that would
fine
work.
only.
But I think the better way is like we find the four sides. If all those four sides are equal, then it can be either a square or a rhombus. And for the rhombus, the diagonals are not equal. So we can find the diagonals, and if both of them are equal, then that is a square.
And square is a rectangle also,
Yeah, but
right?
first condition would take care of that, no? If the four sides are equal,
Yeah,
all the
if
four
even
sides.
four sides are equal, that can be a rectangle also.
No.
A rectangle cannot be a square, but a square can be a rectangle. Only different is the basic difference, the diagonal one, right?
I think a rectangle.
But what he is
Square.
trying to say is the sides should all be same. In a rectangle, they won't be same.
Yeah, I think what he explained that, I mean, if all the sides are equal and diagonals are also equal, right?
Yeah.
Right.
To
Then it
both
would be a square.
diagonals.
Right.
Yeah.
But in definition, we have seen that square can be a rectangle. I don't.
Yeah, that is right. Square can be a rectangle. But in this case, we have to specifically find out if all of the four are same. If either two are same, it means it's a rectangle. If all four are same, it means it is a square.
No, simply by checking all four sides are equal won't confirm that it is a square.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah, right.
right.
You'll have to check that diagonal also.
Yeah, diagonal one.
The rhombus also has all the four sides equal,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but its diagonals are not equal.
45. I know. The angle is 45. I think rhombus diagonals.
Okay, so in that case, if as Shashank was saying, P1 can be P4 and P4 can be P3 or anything, right? So it's not in the sequence.
Yeah, we'll have to check for all the permutations.
Okay. So that's
Or
the
you
only
can-
thing we'll have to check.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was saying if you take the dot product of two sides and if it is equal to 0, right? Because they are perpendicular.
You need the direction cosines for the dot product, right?
Yeah. So cos of 90 is 0, right? A dot B will be AB cos theta and theta is 90. It
Right.
should be.
But the only thing why I would avoid that because it will, it will have all those double and floating points, So in that case, it's slightly difficult sometimes when you
Yeah,
are
and
trying to compare it.
also we'll have to make a vector out of the side then.
Yeah, vector we have to create array vector.
So however, it might be more computational the way Harshit was saying to find the distance of each and every side, have the permutations right, as well as for those what you say diagonals. I would still go that route. I'll try to avoid calculating a slope and then finding all those angles, right angles, right?
But why
But
vectors? Like mod A, mod B cos theta will do. Mod A means the distance of A from that point and distance of B from the origin,
okay.
right?
Okay.
We don't need to
I'm saying
calculate.
it. I'm not saying it might not be
Yeah.
possible, but well, if it's on an interview, I would actually try to stick to this again. Even if there are permutations, at least I keep on doing it. At least I will be able to get to something. Because if
Yeah,
I'm trying to compare all those things in an interview, it might not be very efficient way of getting it to my end results. It might be
yeah.
possible, yeah.
Yeah, the way Shashank is explaining it would be possible, but then we'll have to find the angle also, right? between the
Yeah.
two sides,
Yeah.
because cos of the angle between them.
Yeah, that we have to make sure.
But I was thinking if I find two of those segments and then try to compare those two slopes, if they are perpendicular, so in that case, only the sine would matter, right?
Exactly.
So if that is possible, yeah, then it is. But again, you don't know which one is side and which one is my diagonal. So I'll
Yeah,
have to
that's
be
a.
careful about that.
Yeah. So no, I mean, diagonal will be root 2 times of sides, right? I mean, if 1 and 1 is the side, then the diagonal will be root 2, right?
Yeah, that is also correct.
So
Yeah,
you can
but
define.
we don't know, no, which is the diagonal.
So you have to try all possible combinations then.
Yeah.
That will be mess then. Yeah.
Yeah, so Shashank is saying like if you find a side which is lesser than the diagonal, okay, because it will always be lesser than the diagonal.
Diagonal, yeah.
Just take that value and then combine with that, with that constant factor and see if it is equal to the diagonal. Then you can actually declare that it's a rectangle. Yeah, that is also possible, but we still have to calculate each and every side value, right?
Yeah, worst case.
Distance. Okay.
Okay, so what Shashank is saying that we find NC2, like the total number of lengths would be NC2 only, right?
Yeah.
4C2. So out of these 4C2, if any two of them are the root 2 of the rest, then you're saying that it is a square.
Game is 1 year. I mean, that means square roots. Yes. Because rhombus and all, we don't have such properties. There is no right angle in rhombus, right?
Right.
So it will uniquely identify that the given quadrilateral is square.
Okay, so that is one way. So, what is a better approach?
All look similar. Like, I mean.
Yeah, it is almost same. But I think the way Harshit was saying, I would
That is
think
exactly,
going, because like, but still I'm not very sure of how, because what I would do is I would start with P1, okay, and calculate all the distances with P2, P3, P4, okay. And the same thing I'll do for P2, same thing for P3 and P4. But at the end, I'll be having 16 combinations, correct?
24.
4C2 6 combinations.
No, I think 24, right? 4
24.
factorial base.
Okay.
No, but you'll be selecting two sides and calculating the distance. Or you are taking one and calculating with everyone.
Yeah, so my first would be P1, P2, P3, P4. Then I'll swap P2 with P1, and then like P3 with P1 and P4 with P1. So backtracking basically. And
Okay,
then
then
I'll go to,
24 it will be, yes. But again, when you have calculated P1 with P2.
Yeah, so it'll be 2 times the same one, right?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
you
no,
have to do it.
I think we can open that first solution. It's there.
Okay.
No, the solution part.
Oh, solution, sorry.
Oh, he's saying the solution. Yeah.
Okay. First one, brute force.
Yeah. Go down.
Yeah, they are mentioning 4 factorial.
Yeah. So, yeah, go down a bit. Yeah, this part only. Right.
Oh.
So you always go for the ahead ones. You don't go back. So there won't be that repetition. This L is passed from line number 10. And
Yeah. So actually you do that check only when you have the L is equal to 4. So it means you have gone to the end, right? So he's doing a backtracking, a very beautiful way of doing it, yeah. But he's still calling this as a brute force because he's trying to do it for each and every combination.
Because of permutation.
Permutation, sorry, yeah.
Yeah. Had we got like n points and check whether 4 points can form a square or not, then I think question would have been more tricky to do.
Okay.
Here we just have 4 points.
And therefore, you are saying there will be 24 such computations.
Right. 24 such permutations, right? And for
Okay.
each one, I would be doing that side check and that diagonal check.
Okay.
So how your sorting helps?
I didn't go through the second one.
So this is slightly different. This one actually, he is sorting based on the x-axis.
Yeah. And
And
if there is a
then-
tie, there's no
Yeah.
y coordinate.
Shashank, can I I just want to say something.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So can we pre-calculate all the distances? Okay, it means 4C2. We'll calculate all the distances from every vertices to every vertices. Okay, and okay, so we'll keep on putting them into a map. Okay, so for so the condition to be all those vertices on a square is that the set will have only the size of 2, because for every point you see on a square will have just two types of distances. One is a and another is root 2a. Okay, so if the size of the set at the last will be just 2, then it will be proven that it's a square. I think so.
What if you have 3 root 2s and 3 1s? Then also your size would be 2, right?
Yeah, what?
So you're saying that you will have 4 values, which would be the sides of the same value, and other would be the root 2 time, right?
Yeah. So I be saying I be saying that for a root there will be like a 4 diagonals. So there will be on the unordered map there will be just 2 types of distances. One is like the length of the length of the square, and the second will be the diagonal of the square. So at the when we keep on putting those values into the map, and finally if the size of the map is just 2, then we can prove that it's a square. Okay.
Okay, so let's say you have 6 values with you. You are doing 4C2 computations, and
We are doing.
And 3 of them are 1, and 3 of them are root 2. So in this case, also your size of the set would be 2 only, right?
Yeah.
But this is not a square.
Can you just scroll down this? Okay, scroll down. I will just let us take 4 points P1, P2, P3, and P4. Okay. So if I just calculate, okay.
He's saying you go down, right?
Yeah. Let us take with the third square. Okay, third square. Okay. So once I calculate the distance between P1, P3, P and P naught. Okay, so it's only A. Okay, let us take the length A. So we put this into map, and the size of the length A will be 2. And we keep calculate the distance P1, P2. So it will be root 2A. So it will be having second, like another entry to the set having just once. Okay. Now I go on to P2. Okay. I started calculating for P2. So P2, P3 will be the same distance, so it will be added. Okay, so now the number of entries to that length will be 3. Okay, and when I calculate P2, P0, the number of entries will be increased to 4. And when I just find the distance between P2, P1, then this will be like 2. Okay, so then I move to P0. Okay, so at finally we'll see that there will be just 2 types of distances. Okay. And okay, so if it's so like then it's a square. Okay, well, there's nothing like anything. There's nothing other than a square which has just 2 types of distance consisting between like 4 points. Okay, that's it. Okay.
Yeah, I think that should make sense, right? Because the way Harshit started with, if you have a distance of sides, all of them are same, and if the diagonals are same, right? So there will be only 2 such distances, right, in our calculations. So if we have a map of 2 sides, it should be fine. But we still have to check if the sizes what we have, one has to be some like 4 or whatever it is, and the other should be 2, something like that.
Yeah,
Depending
so I
upon
think
what
this is
package you will-
I think if this constraint is followed of having just 2 lengths, I think there is a bound to be that it will be a square, no matter. Yeah, it will be of course be like a root 2 times, but yeah, I think if it's followed this pattern, I think this will be. Let us take 4 points, okay? And the 4 points are three are linear and one is like out of the bar, like they are forming a triangle. Okay, so there is no way that there will be just two types of distances. Okay, there will be like a more than, it for sure it's more than or equal to three. Okay, so if I made any three even then linear, okay, and if I place them like a randomly and form a square or something like a polygon, okay, then they like a more than, of course it's like a more than three, because I have two types of diagonals and two types of length. Okay, I can have four types of length and two types of diagonal. Okay, so it's like a six. Okay, it's maximum six. Okay, but not it would not be two. Okay, anyway.
Right. So, but if we have an example like this, you know, like this 1, 2. So we have 1, 1, 1, and then we have here 1.
Yeah.
So in that case, we will have this one value, the second value, third value, fourth value. So our diagonal will be 1 over here, and then we'll have another diagonal like this, right? Okay. Then it will be 3 in that case. Okay.
So yeah, so let me take this very like equilateral symmetrical. So let me place these as identical. So it's A, and okay, if it's A, this has to be A. So what if the distance of the extreme two line, okay, that will be 2 times A. So that will create like another set into the another entry to the set. Okay, because 2 of the vertices will have a length 2. It's not A. Okay, so I think that it is surely have a more than 2 entries into the set.
Okay.
Even any case you can take. Okay, I just note down. I just tried few cases. Okay, just to prove this.
Okay. So do you have an implementation of it?
No, I just thought it now. Okay, while you all were trying this.
Okay, no issues. Yeah.
Devan,
But
Once I will try it, I will put it on. If you I will try to implement it in the same manner. Okay. So if it's showing the correct answer, we'll put it. Okay.
No problem. Yeah, sure. Yeah, Arshit, you had some question.
yeah, so I think your solution would give false positives also. If it's a valid square, then it would be correctly detected. But let's say we have at the end we have 6 distances, right? And we have a random distribution of points. So let's say three points, like 3 distances we have as 1, 1, 1, 1, and 3 of them we have as root 2, root 2, root 2. Then in that case, in this case, your size of the set would be 2, and you will be returning this as a square, but it won't be a square, right?
So can you come up with an example?
Because
the property of a square and rectangle matters here.
Without I mean, like 3, 1, 1 are there and 3 root 3s are there. So here also 2 types of distances are there, but it is not a square.
I think there will be no 3 root 2. There will be just 2 root 2 types. Okay.
See, the way
you are given a random
Diwan is
distribution,
saying, no, the way Diwan is saying that if we have only 2 distances, right? So that boils down to either we have a square or we have a rhombus. But rhombus will still have size 3, right? Because 2 of its diagonals are not same. Unless if the rhombus is in such a way that one of its diagonal is almost equivalent to its side.
I'm not going that deep. I'm saying we have these 4 points like randomly distributed, and we get these distances. And then as per Devan's argument, this would be a square.
Yeah, but it is actually it's not.
Actually, it's not.
Yeah.
What?
Because only 2 types of distances are here.
What
So
Santosh
how could we place 4 vertices equidistant in a space? Okay. So I'm just trying to build some geometry. Okay. So can you just draw some like a random like a polygon?
No. So Harshit has a point. He's saying that we are not going to have the vertices always as a square. It can be anyway. It's not always going to be rectangle or a square or a rhombus. It can be distributed anywhere. That is also a valid point. Yeah.
Yeah. What
Yeah,
Santosh
What
was saying,
are we getting here? What is 1, 1 root 3? I'm not getting this.
so basically, these
I'm
are
saying,
just 2 direct distances.
Yeah. 4 C2 are there. No, 6 distances will be there.
Okay. So you are saying these are the distances, right?
Yeah. I've calculated all the 6 distances and I got these many. But here you can divide distances into 2 parts. Root 3, 1 and
Oh yeah.
1 is
So
other.
in that case, what you need to do is, okay, you need to always compare 4 distances should be same and 2 distances should be same. So that is one small correction we have to do. Then only it is going to give a correct result.
But again, we can come up with different case then, like
That will be difficult because we won't be able to come up with a test case like that.
Yeah. So as you
I
are
don't
saying
think
that
so
if
it will pass
if
with
the count
the-
of one of them is 4 and the other is 2, then
Yes.
it would be fine.
Then it will be fine. Or else the way Shashank was saying, you have to calculate the diagonals, the way the diagonal and side, they have a constant factor, right? With both of them, they're related to each other. So if we have that constant factor, then that also should be fine, root 2. So if you are able to compare that. Yeah, that is a good approach, Divan, but only problem is it is going to consume space.
Okay.
That is the only.
I'm not really sure. I mean, what if
I don't
like
think it will pass. Yeah.
yeah, because I'm just thinking randomly. We have 4 equal, like we have 4 ones and 2 root 2s. What if one of the diagonals is having this length 1 1, because it is possible, no, that it is not a right triangle.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, but then
It-
you won't have, if it's a not a right angle, you won't have 2 diagonals of the same length. So what will happen? The size of that unordered map will be 3, not 2. Right. So if you don't have a right angle, then it will change. So it will be only, the size will only be 2 if it is a right angle. And if you actually compare those, in order to avoid the last, whatever, the example what you guys had given, 1 1 1 and root 3 root 3 root 3. So to differentiate that, if you just compare the values of 4 and 2, which is an additional computation, then it can be fine. So those are two couple of cases you have to take care of it, or else it should work. That is what my thoughts are. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, might work. I mean,
Yeah, we can try. Let's see what the one comes up with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Divan, whenever done, you just post it in Discord, and then we can go from there. Okay. Okay. So yeah, what is the options what you have?
Mm.
Harshit has a solution, right?
no,
Yeah.
I didn't code it. I just saw that that backtracking one.
Okay. Okay.
But I saw somewhere diagonal one. I mean,
Yeah, we should look for what Devan is saying.
Okay, then
Yeah.
I have one thing. It is almost in the similar lines what he has said. Therefore, I was talking about it. So I'll just
Sure.
quickly share that, right? Okay, so I did it this way. Okay, so I'm using this distance formula what we actually were using it many places. So this is that unordered map. Okay, earlier I was actually doing I was calculating distances between each and every one, P1, P2, P1, P3, P4, everything. But it was 24 times, 12 times I was doing this distance. So then I said actually remove the duplicates one. So right now I'm actually doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And then if I come with the size 2, right, and I just compare this one, this is the computation we have to do here, right? If your x is equal to 2, y is equal to 4, the same thing what I was saying. Or if it is y equal to 2 and x is equal to 4, it will return true or else return false. Okay. So in that case, then it is okay, it works. But only this is the very crucial part that was I was struggling for some time.
Yeah.
What is it doing? X equal to 2 and y equal to 4?
So I'm trying to find if two of my values, like I will have a diagonals, right? So diagonals will be 2.
Okay.
And my x and y is nothing but the number of the distances what I have. Okay. So in my map, actually, I'm just adding all these distances. Okay. So whenever I have a distance, okay, I just increment count, the frequency count of the distance. Correct. So when I do all of these, I could have very well gone with these which are commented also. That is also fine. But only thing is I'll have to change the values over here, 2 and 4. It will be like 4 and 8.
Yeah, right. Just
Yeah.
a double.
Just double of it. But I said why to do a computation? But this is a computation. Okay. It is not a very efficient way, but it is okay. It works.
I think this is the best we can get because I thought
Uh,
about it, but I'm not sure.
I'm not sure though because the timings are not so okay. You know.
Okay.
So this is done
Look
in
at that timing, yeah. If you look at the C++ timing, they are not so because they come with 0 also somewhere, right? Yeah. So you have much better timings. You know, you have some 0 timings also.
they have sorted, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they have a different way of doing it here. Yeah, but this is also almost the same.
But your time complexity is less, right?
No, mine is more.
You are just calculating the distance only, no?
Yeah.
We are not sorting, right? So order of n on.
Maybe hashing, but we have very less values there.
So this guy actually is using a map. I didn't use a map. Okay.
Yeah, sometimes log is less than
Yeah, that is what actually.
amortized.
So these guys are actually using a square root the way it has to be done. This is a good way of doing it, but I really am scared of doing all these float values when it comes to comparison. I really hate them. I try to avoid. So yeah.
How are
But
we
yeah.
proceeding after sorting?
Where is this
Someone
guy?
look at that? This, yeah. How are they doing like after sorting the array?
No, actually, he doesn't want to compare those 2 and 4, but he wants to see if v0 is 1, because if we
Okay.
sort, they all are coming together, right?
Yeah.
And you are only sorting these 6 elements, correct? So all of
Right.
those ones which are closer, they will all be one pair, and then these will be the 2, which will be other pair.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So v0, v1, v0, v2. So then v0, v3.
Yeah. So V0, V1, V2, V3 are the sides, and V4, V5 are the diagonals.
v4 and v5 and v0 and v4. Okay.
Yeah. So root 2 is going to be less than that side diagonal
Yeah.
length. That is second.
Just a question, okay. So if they are gonna short this vector, doesn't it gonna take some time, like n log n? And for your question, you are doesn't using any type of shorting, I think, and it's just like you're extracting the values from a map. So who gives a better time response? I think I just want to ask this.
Yeah, that is correct. That is the way I was thinking. But if you sort it, when you are sorting only 6 values, it's not going to be a big of a deal, not much of a
Okay.
computation. And also when I'm going in that iteration, I'm iterating each and every value of the map. Okay, that might be slightly overhead. But here he's just comparing the values. Okay, that's slightly more efficient, I would say, because I'm doing the both sides, 2, 4, 4, 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is slightly efficient because he's just comparing the two values which are very close to each other.
So what if we put just a Manhattan distance in spite of this power above it? So I think they have used like this x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square. We just put like a x2 minus x1 absolute value plus y1 minus y absolute value. I think this is gonna be like a faster than this.
Yeah, but actually we can't use a Manhattan value over here
Uh,
because
and
again it's
finally,
a shorter distance.
and finally, we are just comparing the values now. Okay, so we have nothing to do with root 2. Okay, in the last, if v0 is equal to v1, so that relation will also hold, anyway if we use
Right.
that method.
No, I think Manhattan, that distance and the Euclidean root 2 can be 1 if we take Manhattan.
Yeah. Okay, I guess yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was actually working on it, I did all this 12. Okay, then slightly it was okay. But then I said, why to do these more implementation? Then I think I got a slightly better results. or else it was giving me 12 and 16, or then it started giving me 8. So that was okay.
Yeah, this is good.
This is okay, yeah, but
Yeah.
not a very efficient one though. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would say the way the backtracking, I think people would expect us to do it that route, right?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, because this doesn't use any algorithms, so it won't be so much.
Yeah.
It's okay. We have come up with a solution, but I don't think so. Anyone would appreciate it too much. That
Yeah, not reusable.
yeah.
This is one like
Huh?
regarding this solution, the one which I'm sharing.
Okay.
What they are doing, they are first calculating this distance and sorting all the distances, and after that, they are calculating the distances and then making it in an array of what do you say, array of values, and then sorting. After sorting, they have used
Yeah.
some circle. Yeah, go ahead.
So it is almost the same thing. What the first one, what I was showing, right?
Yeah,
Right.
But-
Almost the same. Yeah.
I couldn't understand this explanation. Like we want to show ABCD as a square.
Uh-huh.
So one is a small side, the other is large side. So if AC is large side, then BD is a. If BD is large side, then AB and AC are small side. So B lies on intersection. What
Yeah,
is
so
the
he's
small-
trying to compare if there are two large sides like AC and BD, so they will be our diagonals, right? And therefore, if A and C are diagonals and B and D are diagonals, right? So AB and BC are small values, correct?
B and
And therefore they will be the sides. That is what he's trying to say.
So B will lie on the intersection of circles A and C.
So B
What is
lies on the intersection of, if you draw a circle,
Oh,
then it
like
will.
it? No, it lies on the intersection. B lies on intersection of circles A and C.
Yeah, but yeah, whatever. Sometimes the explanation is not so clear. But the
Yeah.
way he's trying to say is, if we have A, C as a diagonal and B and D as a diagonal, then he's saying, right, A, B and B, C are going to be smaller because they are the sides. That is clear.
Yeah, that is clear.
Right, yeah. But about the intersection, the way he's explaining it might be slightly more advanced, but this explains, right, it is a square. And
B
therefore
lies
therefore he's looking, when you look at the return value, he's saying it has to be greater than 0, right? All these values have to be greater than 0. And then he's comparing if D0, D1, D2, D4, they are same because they are sorted. Okay. And then he's just saying if they are same means they are sides. Okay. So 2 into D0 will be equal to D4 and D5, which are the diagonals.
root 2 into D0 it should be, no?
No.
Square, no?
Okay, got it. Because that's a square they have taken. Yeah. D is a square of numbers. That's why.
Yeah. So 2 into 1 is going to be 2.
Yeah. Root 2 is a square of that.
So D0, D4. What is this D5?
D5 is
3.
diagonal. D4 and D5 are diagonals.
Okay, and D0 and D4 are diagonals, right?
No, D0 is not diagonal. D0 to D3, they are all sides. And D4 and D5 are only diagonals.
Okay, 2 times, yeah, got it.
Yeah,
1 plus
yeah.
1.
So the way you were saying, right, root 2 times, that is what he's trying to do here.
Yeah. But he's doing the square and then saying.
Yeah, because it's already square. So then he's doing it.
Makes sense. I don't know what this circle is telling.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to interpret because the way he was writing at that time, he had something in his mind.
Might be chord and all.
Yeah. It might be relevant. But most of the time, if you just get the gist of what they are saying, is fine because there's so much of literature here. It's
Yeah,
endless. Yeah. But I would always still say that we have to go the backtracking route. Okay. However efficient or inefficient it is, because now also when we were discussing, we all were not coming on the same page, right, about this one, and it made a valid discussion there also. And the same discussion we would still have with an interviewer. And then that is the reason he would not be so good about us coming with this approach, I would say.
But this code
Right.
looks much simpler in this case. Like, I mean, like,
That's
Yeah, it looks because, but see, lead code, anything passes, it doesn't mean that it is the best solution. That is what I would take, because it should
Right.
be in some standard algorithm, which actually we are able to communicate when we are discussing with someone, right? There should
Right.
not be too much of controversies. Like this looks okay to me. Okay, I did it. Okay, and I passed. But when I was discussing with both of you, it was really not making more sense. Then I realized also that time. But I was also doing the same thing when I was looking at the solution. I said, this is the way I should go. But yeah.
Right.
looks a bit cleaner than
Yeah.
backtracking one. Yeah.
If you have done this before, then you would probably pitch this to the interviewer, but he would want you to be like 100% sure, like prove me.
Yes. Yeah.
Because we can't like go deep into the mathematics because
Mm.
we kind of forget
Yeah.
things. So in that case, I think backtracking one was more algorithmic.
Yeah.
This is more mathematical. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if this would have been a real good solution, they would have included in our solutions, right? Surely it would have been a part of the solution. It is not a part of solution. It means it is a solution, but it's not a widely appreciated or maybe accepted one, I would say.
It's more like a catch.
Yeah.
This guy is writing many solutions.
Yeah, advice solutions, some of them are really good, but
Yeah.
some of them are like this corner cases.
Yeah, looks good.
No problem. We are the only 4 left, so let's stop it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Yeah. Thank you, Ashish.
you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.